Hello, welcome to Vlogmas, day 24. And, oh, the curtain is falling apart. And, in honor of it being the last day of Vlogmas, and also, got the sticker right off that time, just past the shortest day of the year where I live, I thought the topic should be sad and the other type of sad. In other words, the two types of seasonal affective disorder, which are absolutely like recognized as two totally separate things. Okay. Seasonal affective disorder, I'm going ahead with the assumption that everybody knows what it is. Also going with the assumption you can actually see what I'm doing here. Seasonal affective disorder is sort of like a cyclical depression that is not simply caused by either a brain chemical imbalance or by reacting to life experiences, but is actually a physiological reaction to changes in season. So, how does that work? The seasonal affective disorder that happens in the winter is definitely more well known. Is that right? Yeah, that is. I think it goes like that too. Oh, it's a table. And they've actually done lots of research on it. Things like discovering that light therapy helps, because again, it is how the body reacts to the change in basically the weather. And that also the change in the amount of light in the air, in the world. In the fall, it becomes darker sooner and becomes lighter later. And so one of the things that may be a cause is changes in levels of vitamin D in the body, etc. And the one that's more well known, the winter version, that one, they have light therapy, where you would have a light therapy box that you literally sit in front of a light, kind of like I've been under this light for the last month, sort of, and you use that in order to get the extra vitamin D in your system, and it helps you to not be as reactive. Which way do you suppose this goes? I think it goes like this, but why is it sideways then? Unless it's wrong. But it seems right. I don't know. Anyway, so that is one type of seasonal affective disorder. And it happens usually starting in the fall and peaks in the winter, and then sort of peters out and gets a little better once the seasons change again. So what about the other one? The other one is basically the exact same thing, except that it's the opposite. It's the other kind of seasonal affective disorder. And what happens with that is you get the same sort of symptoms of depression and difficulty sleeping, etc., etc., etc. But you're not really depressed. You are just reacting to the world. Very similar to the winter or fall seasonal affective disorder. So, what causes that? Well, they actually aren't totally sure in both cases what causes seasonal affective disorder of any sort. However, they believe that the spring-summer version is caused by temperature spikes. So it's basically the exact opposite and the same. That makes no sense. As the other kind. That's better. So it's heat and humidity as opposed to lack of light and cold. And also possibly you get less sleep because you're like the sun is coming up earlier, etc. So you get less sleep, and that might be a cause for you to have it in the summer. Which basically means you can't win. And you usually don't get both, or you might get both, but you will only notice one or the other because it's much stronger and affecting you more. So it sort of like sticks out to you. So now that I've said that, let's see if I can do my, I'm going to cough, hold on, my absolute most annoying thing that basically anybody can do. Let's see if I can self-diagnose. What do I think? Do I have either of them or both of them? And the answer is, I'm not going to do it. I don't believe in self-diagnosis, so I'm not going to self-diagnose. I've never been treated for it or diagnosed in any sort of having it. However, I live in the north relatively. Compared to some places, I don't live that far north at all. But compared to some others, I live pretty far north, and it's basically assumed that everybody has it here. So, I guess I sort of have it. But, I don't really like adding to my list of grievances. Equally bad to self-diagnosing is rejecting a diagnosis, but I've been known to do that um, primarily because I think they're redundant, some of my diagnoses. So, what to do? I sort of like kind of talked about that already, but what do you do if you believe that you have these? A lot of self-care. If you have the winter version, get as much light as possible. If you have the summer version, try to stay as cool and avoid humidity specifically as much as possible. Try to get try to like work with the light in your life. So like in the summer, get room darkening shades. If you have summer seasonal affective disorder, in the winter, get a light box. And it is possible, if you're seeing this particular cycle, that there are medications that can work. And again, now, if you just have avoidant personality disorder, then medications are not going to work to affect that specifically, nor will it affect depression that is a result of your avoidant personality disorder and the lifestyle that you are living because you can't do the things that you wish you could. However, if you have seasonal affective disorder, it is possible there are medications that could help. Just like if you have a brain chemical disorder that causes depression in addition to your avoidant personality disorder, there's a possibility that you could have medications that could help either depression or anxiety. So basically, try as hard as you can to go to a doctor and get a full diagnosis of everything to see what's going on. And hey, give it a shot. I tried all kinds of medications. They did not work for me, except, and I've talked about this before, it was bizarre, but it was kind of outrageously awesome at the same time. I took a blood pressure medication that caused my blood pressure to get so low. First of all, I was dizzy. Like, I couldn't bend over at all without getting dizzy, but also I couldn't have the physiological reaction that I normally have, my anxious response, and so I didn't get anxious because my body wasn't doing its thing. It was pretty wild. It was the only thing that I have taken as medication that actually affected either my depression or my anxiety. Even if I was in an anxiety provoking environment where, forget about me, but anybody, it would have been normal for them to become anxious, I didn't react as if I had anxiety because I didn't have a physiological reaction in my body. And so, as an example, if you are having either SAD or the other kind of SAD, of seasonal affective disorder, if you don't have the physiological reaction to the cyclical change, it is possible that you could trick your body into not actually having it. So, monitoring the light in your life so that you don't have either too much or too little, and monitoring the heat level so that you don't get overheated and you don't get and you don't have humidity at such a level that your body is going to react to it in the summer and in the winter, that you don't keep allowing yourself to get chilled and also like all dried out and dehydrated. I mean, those are really basic things, and probably as far as the more well-known version of seasonal affective disorder that happens in the winter. That's probably like basic, yeah, everybody knows that. And probably the idea of, avoiding very hot places in the summer, you know, um, I mean, that's like, yeah, obviously everybody wants to do it, but to do that to affect your mental health, I don't know that everybody knows about that. Um, Basically, you're trying to break that cyclical pattern that your body is reacting out in the world, and so it's giving you this um, mental state changes that are as a result of your body reacting to the changes in your environment. And so, if you can keep your environment from changing as much, in theory, you will not have, it's like your body picks up on these cues and then your brain reacts in the same way that it has in the past. If you don't have the cues to start it, you might not get the rest. Anyway, so this concludes Vlogmas for this year. Um, and I know a lot of them, in my opinion, a lot of them were sort of, well, first of all, a lot of them were really not great because I was trying to concentrate on what I was saying when I was doing these puzzles at the same time. I think a lot of them were sort of, I kept calling them softball topics, that they were sort of, which is actually kind of sexist, but that they were not the hard hitting, intense topics that maybe people would expect from me. So I hope there weren't too many of those sort of trivial, frivolous videos, and that maybe somebody got information that helped them this year. Never know. Anyway, have a good night, and I'm not sure when I will make another video. I might make one tomorrow. Once you get used to making these videos, you keep making the videos. It's the most bizarre thing. Other than that, then I guess I'd see you next year. I don't know. Either soon or sometime in the future. Bye.